Welcome to The Flight, a consumable curation of champions and catastrophes that is considerate of your chronometer. It's me, Chris Copleen, from the Retro Hangover podcast, your co-host with the most host. Just forget I said all that because I'm joined by, Beetlejuice, Dick Dragon, Shane Koski is here with me.
The sandworm Dick Dragon. There you go. It's a Beetlejuice reference for all five of you.
Yeah. Has a gigantic urethra.
That's right.
By the way.
Stripey,
very impressive.
Stripey. It's got teeth.
I wish mine had teeth. That'd be... I could do all sorts of interesting things. Wait, why am I even thinking like this?
I don't know.
I can't tell you. But it would be an interesting boss, wouldn't you think that?
You know, it probably would be. Would not be entirely surprised if it didn't already happen somewhere. Probably Japan.
Yes, because this flight is talking about the best 5 boss themes, music-wise, that we think in video games.
As
which
opposed
is probably
to what?
I don't know.
It's the best music in terms of instruments.
Oh, yes. But just a reminder before you kick this off, this topic was nominated and chosen by our patrons. So if you want to get on in this action, so for just $1 a month, you can head over to our Patreon at linktree/retrohangover. That's linktr.ee/retrohangover. And you'll see a link to our Patreon. Or if you don't want to do that, it's just patreon.com/retrohangover. And you too can nominate topics and vote on the topics for the flight. So Shane, it's boss battles, and hopefully not everything I have is from an RPG. Well, maybe it is, but it's one of those things. These are very important things that we get to. It's the culmination. It's the climax. We all love climaxing. That when you fight off against a boss of some sort, it could be common, it could be a final boss. These are important tracks, wouldn't you think?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And at this point, you know, there are so many of them that coming up with a list of just 5 was difficult to the point where we're probably just going to include some honorable mentions towards the end here, because there were just so many that I feel like I need to at least like bring them up, if not discuss them, because there's just so many good boss tracks out there.
Oh, and we're still going to forget some, even in the honorable mentions.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, you know, if we did this next year, I'm pretty sure my list would probably be different, because I don't erase everything I do, but I do black it out so I don't have to see it. So if this gets brought up another time to your patrons, if you're listening, and you do vote on this again, then you don't know. You might get a completely different list for boss music. I think that's true for some topics, but especially this one. It's all subjective in the moment. I mean, everything's subjective, so that doesn't make any sense. Hooray!
Well then.
So Shane, why don't you kick this one off and let us know what your number 5 boss theme is?
Number 5.
All right. To start off my list, we are going to go down over to the FPS side of things. Crazy, I know. With Serious Sam and the Final Battle theme. The original Serious Sam, subtitle The First Encounter, is a fantastic first-person shooter, first of all. It's chaotic, it's over the top, it's pretty much everything you'd want in a boomer shooter, such as they are called.
For boomers.
And the Final Battle theme fits this perfectly, because it is also just completely over the top and intense. And, you know, it's got really, really strong Phantom of the Opera vibes, of all things. It's just a really great song. And I mean, you know, who would have thought, right, that you'd be blasting this Goro-looking alien the size of a skyscraper to some Andrew Lloyd Webber jams. So there you go. Number 5, Serious Sam's Final Battle.
My number 5 is Last Battle Emilia from Saga Frontier. I don't know why this song is something I really like. I think I hear the remixes and I really enjoy them, and I think that this is one of those songs that you listen to the original, it can't be as good as the remix, but I really think the original is that good. You have a lot of changing key signatures, a lot of changing time signatures throughout the entire mix. It's just a complete boss battle in a game where you kind of have segmented, piecemealed stories, not so much like Live Alive. They don't really connect in any meaningful way. But Kenji Ito just composes his brains out for Saga Frontier. It's one of the best soundtracks on the PlayStation, and this is one of the best tracks on this soundtrack. It's a fantastic final boss theme. It kind of gets all the emotion that you're getting from the scene. I mean, it's really hard to get the plot anyway. So it's more it's just I think it's an awesome song, uh first and foremost. And I just really dig it. I think that it's underrated, it's understated because it's from a game that I don't think a lot of people really think about in terms of JRPGs. Now, big nerds like me, of course, do because that's who I am.
Mm.
But yeah, it's a great one. So check out Last Battle Emilia from Saga Frontier. It's a jam. And if you can find the remix, go for the orchestral one. I think the orchestral one is much better than any of the rock ones that are out there. It's performed brilliantly and it sounds fantastic.
Number 4.
All right. Coming in at number 4, The Defender from Shovel Knight. As many of you probably know, the Shovel Knight soundtrack, just as a whole, fucking slaps. So it's difficult to pick just one. But of all of the boss encounters that you have in Shovel Knight, in my humble opinion, I think the confrontation with the Black Knight and the theme that goes along with it is the best one. I love the intensity of it. You got the energy there, and also incorporating some of the like iconic pieces from Strike the Earth, which is one of the first tracks you hear in the game, in the first zone, and arguably one of the most identifiable ones for Shovel Knight as a whole. Incorporating that into this boss theme, but at like that higher tempo, and like just changing it enough is just really awesome, and just thematically ties everything together in this really great little package. And so they did a really awesome job of like pulling that together. And so that's why it's at my number 4. I mean, the whole soundtrack is fantastic, and if you don't know it, go listen to it, because it's something that you could even just jam out to just on your commute to work or while you're doing something at home, because it's just that good. But as far as boss battle themes go for that game, I think this one takes it for me.
So my number 4 is, before I say my number 4, Shane, do you like butt rock?
I like it ironically.
I love butt rock. Butt rock is great. I love butt rock in my video games. I love butt rock in my Super Nintendo games. And that's why my number 4 boss theme is Dark King's theme from Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. The final boss theme is just a rock and roll opus. It is fucking metal as fuck. It is incredible in what is probably an S tier soundtrack for
Mhm.
the Super Nintendo Entertainment System that cannot be praised enough. This entire soundtrack is underrated. Everything that Ryuji Sasai does is not, well, I won't say everything, but everything here is great. And because I haven't listened to everything he does, obviously, but like it just smacks you in the face because this is not the game. If you ever have played Mystic Quest, this is not the game that's supposed to have this soundtrack by a country mile. The final boss battle, as the kids say, go hard. It slaps. It's fire. Insert trendy word here. It is all of that. And it's just there's no emotion behind it because it's just generic RPG-dom. That's why I don't put it higher, and I think there's better compositions that are a little bit higher. That's why I put it 4. But man, is it a good track. And I can't put into words why I love this song so much. It's part of the track that I listen to when I go running because it motivates me, and I love to run to it because I feel like a fucking jackass hero that's ready to fight the world, probably gets slayed. But it's there, and I love it.
That is a solid pick. Yeah, I was actually surprised it was kind of this low on your list, but I think that's good reasoning. And to be fair, I almost had the boss theme for Mystic Quest on my list also because that
Mm,
soundtrack is fucking incredible.
yes.
Number 3.
All right. Well, that brings us to the middle of the road. And my number 3 for best boss theme, Soul of Cinder from Dark Souls 3. So there are a lot of fantastic boss themes in the Souls averse, the Soulsborne games, if you will. So it was actually kind of difficult for me to narrow this down, but I settled on Soul of Cinder for a couple of reasons. One, it's just a fantastic track front to back. It is appropriately epic, but it's really more about the thematic elements. Most of my other picks, honestly, on this list are more of just like, I love this boss theme because it fucking slaps. Like it's just in your face, like, hell yeah, let's fight a boss. But this is very different. It serves as like this perfect thematic capstone to this entire series. You know, with 3, of course, being the end of the Dark Souls trilogy. Um, the song itself begins with this like swelling orchestra with these like staccato string instruments overlaid with sustained brass sections and this like epic choral vocals happening. And that's about 2 minutes or so of that. And then halfway through, it transitions to this more understated, very somber tone. And this lone piano begins playing the notes of Gwyn's theme from Dark Souls 1. And it's at that point where you realize what all of this really means. The whole song is like a musical description of what happened with the Lords of Cinder. So, like, at first, their sacrifice to save the world and keep the flame lit was seen as this very heroic and noble thing. And so you get this very heroic and noble sounding music and very, emphatic. But then you get this slow realization that dawns that all they did was ultimately for nothing because they were only delaying the inevitable. And that's where you get that more somber tone that kind of brings in at the end and the strains of Gwyn's theme. And that's when you realize that it's basically just you and the Lord, that last Lord of Cinder, facing off in this like dying world. And it's like just it encapsulates the Dark Souls trilogy just beautifully. And so that is why I have it on my list.
All right. So I'm just going to state that the next two songs on my list I think, are so good compositionally, and I just love listening to that. I haven't even played the games. So
Okay.
I'll be honest and upfront. I know enough about them, but especially this next one. My number three is Asgore from Undertale. Yes, I think it's better than Megalovania. I think
Really?
Megalovania is overplayed. I think Megalovania is just, I'm tired of it. I'm sorry. I've heard it too many times. I'm done with it. It's, to me, I'm just annoyed by it. It's this that track you've heard over and over and over again. It was cool the first 5 times. That's why it's not on here, everybody. I am done with it. I'm done with Megalovania. I am on to Asgore. Give Asgore some love. The way this song builds up from the very start to the end. And I'm not even someone who's played this game, keep in mind. Just my son loves the game, and I know there's a lot of people in our community that love this game. So, but I will tell you, I've listened to this song and the way it builds up, and there's just, you can tell there's emotion behind it. Like it's a desperate battle, it's a desperate situation. And it is so amazing. Again, you can tell there's a trend here because of a lot of butt rock. And this is a butt rocky song, and I love my fucking butt rock. And oh, it's perfect. It hits perfectly in another game with an overall fantastic soundtrack in Undertale. I haven't even played the game and I love the soundtrack. It gives me vibes. It gives me feels. Just go listen to the entire soundtrack first and foremost. But my favorite boss theme from that game is Asgore, and it should be yours too. Move on from Megalovania. We all know that. It's boring. Go away. That's a typical
Uh,
answer. It's like saying that Rush is your number one best boy out of dogs. Pick something else.
God, so pedestrian. It's like I I love this through line of the butt rock thing. This fucking three doors down, Nickelback, five finger death punch ass shit. Like I have a feeling I know what might be on the rest of your list, and if not, I'm gonna be thoroughly surprised.
I think you're going to be surprised.
Okay, all right, fair.
Number 2.
All right. My number two. I'm just going to go ahead and say this right now that my last two picks are painfully predictable, and I don't care because it's my fucking list and I'll do what I want.
That's kind of the point.
It is Invasion from Contra 3, The Alien
Ooh.
Wars. This song is so fucking good. Okay, I mean, to be fair, the soundtrack for Contra 3 is incredible anyway, but the boss theme that you get for all, and that's the thing, is like it's the same theme for every boss except for the final one. But that's okay because it's fucking amazing. Like how this is composed is so just genius, right? Like Contra 3 in and of itself is, of course, this very in your face run and gun action game, but it also has a lot of honestly like body horror elements that are very reminiscent of, 80s horror films like The Thing and stuff like that, or Alien. It has that sort of aesthetic. And so there's always this sort of like horror undertone in a lot of what's going on with the aliens that you're fighting, especially the bosses. And so at the beginning of this track, you get this very ominous, creepy like intro that sounds like it's straight from like a slasher film. And then as soon as the music just like kicks in and like swells up, that's usually when the boss appears, and they time this perfectly. And then the rest of it is just this like bumpin' track with this great, it makes such wonderful use of the Super Nintendo audio chip. It's got this great synthy thing going on. It's very, very of the like Terminator sort of era action films and that sort of thing. And it's so fucking good. Like, I almost had it at my number one, but there's another one that knocks this down just one peg, and you'll probably know why once I get to it. But man, this song is amazing.
All right, as promised, my number two is from another game I haven't quite gotten to yet, but I have gotten to the soundtrack, and this is not a JRPG.
I am shocked.
You should be, because all the other games are, and that's pretty much all the games I play. This is from Ace Combat Zero, and it is Zero. It's just a fantastic song. I don't think there's any other way I could put it. When I heard this song for the first time, I was like, this can't be from this can't be from a video game where you do dogfighting. This is not an airplane arcade sim video game where you just launch missiles at people. Like, this song is really fucking good. It strikes a lot of kind of Spanish, not Spanish, Spanish Mediterranean vibes with, I think it's castanets is the name of the instrument. With a lot of that going on in the background, the very clicky percussion instrument with some very good acoustic guitar performed, and you have this choir and full orchestra behind it, and it all kind of builds up into this big crescendo at the end, and just driving the point home that you're in a dogfight for your life. And like I said, I haven't played the game, but the song is just, it's so good. It's composed so well, and I cannot believe I need to play this fucking game because I love this song so much, and I just haven't. But this is another song that's just on my running playlist that I listen to while I run, and it's not butt rock. It's just very typical kind of, I don't even say typical. It's just an acoustic number with a lot of orchestral backing to it, and it gives me that fire. I don't know how else to put it, but it's just a track from a another series that overall has high quality soundtracks. And this is a boss theme. It's one of the last themes that you hear. Is against, it's a boss of Ace Combat Zero, and it's appropriately called Zero. So yeah, I mean, if I can get a lot of appreciation out of this song without ever having played the game, I think you should too, and you should definitely go give it a listen. I think it's utterly fantastic.
Nice.
Number one.
Okay, so we're at our number one, but before I reveal what that is, as promised, I'm going to give a few of my honorable mentions, and then I will give you my number one, and then I'll turn it over to Chris. So if he's got any honorable mentions, he can do his and then go into his top pick. I have about five. I'm just going to go through them. I'm not going to talk about all of them because otherwise this will not be a chronometer friendly episode. But These were ones that were on my list temporarily and then kind of got shifted around in favor of the ones that I ultimately settled on. And that is the boss theme from Shantae Half Genie Hero is fantastic.
Mm.
King Bowser boss fight from Super Mario World is iconic. I heard that so many times as a kid. The Greatest Jubilee from Bayonetta is epic as fuck. I mean, that whole soundtrack's great anyway. But that boss theme is just fantastic. The boss theme from Guacamelee is really good also.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I would have gone with the final boss theme, but honestly, I feel like it's basically the same song, but they layer some extra stuff on it that I'm like, it's good, but I think the base boss theme is just really great. It's got like flamenco flavor and everything. It's just really good. And then the last one, I have not played this game. So all the other ones on this list I have, this one I have not, but I couldn't not talk about this because this song just fucks. Like, it has to be this way from Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. Holy shit. Like, this song alone makes me want to play that game. Like, you want to talk about butt rock? This is power metal butt rock to the extreme, and it is fucking phenomenal. I don't even know what the game is about, but this song just makes the whole thing. So that's the last one on my honorable mentions.
Has it been 10 years since Metal Gear Rising has come out? I think it has.
I don't know. Maybe it'll be an excuse
for that out
us to play it. Yeah.
Just throwing it out there.
Yeah. I don't know. Patrons, you hear that? Yeah. You can vote on it.
I'll just fucking play it anyway.
But that does bring me to my number one, which in a shocking turn of events to exactly 0 people is the boss battle theme from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, Turtles in Time. I mean, I don't really know what there is to say about this other than it's really good. Like, I mean, it's it's perfect for the game. Like, and also it's another one that really makes good use of the Super Nintendo's like music hardware. Like, it's got this very like specific sound that era of like sound chip had, with like the sort of like slightly better than Casio keyboard sort of sound effects, and like the almost like vocalizer or a like wah pedal sound that this like boss battle has, which also they kind of use for like some of the boss like hit sound effects and things like that. It's so good. Like, it's just high energy from start to finish. It fits the Turtles theme to a T. And of course I'm hugely biased because it's Turtles in Time and it's like one of my favorite games ever. But yeah, man, like it's almost, in my opinion, like it's almost the perfect boss theme that isn't orchestral. Like, because if you're talking that's a whole other ball game, and there are a metric butt ton of very well done orchestral themes. But in terms of just straight up like video gamey, like arcade ass kind of boss theme, like this is pretty fucking close to perfect in my opinion. So Turtles in Time takes my number one for not the first or last time, I'm sure.
Turtles in Time, that the boss theme for that is fantastic. I love the bass line in that.
Yes.
It's so good. My number one is probably not going to be a surprise.
Did you have any honorable mentions or no?
I have to say the honorable mentions first, though. So let me get to that. The Extreme from Final Fantasy VIII, X versus Zero from Mega Man X5, Battle on the Big Bridge from Final Fantasy V, Pain the Universe from Legend of Mana, Scars of the Divine Wind from East Origins, Boss Battle from Lufia 2, Gameplay Galleon from Donkey Kong Country, Beat Them Up from Romancing Saga Minstrel Song, and Last Battle T260G from Saga Frontier. I had 9, so yeah, I had a lot. So go listen to those. They're all fantastic. I can't make up my mind. I love this shit.
Yeah.
So my number one, It is. It's my number one now. It is my number one forever. It is a magnum opus. It is, I think, the ultimate definitive gold standard for where a boss battle, especially in JRPGs, I think particularly in JRPGs, probably wouldn't work too well in action games. It is the gold standard of what a final boss should be. Start to finish, soup to nuts, composition, everything. This is a juggernaut of sound. That's probably not the best word to use with that, but it is Dancing Mad from Final Fantasy VI. I don't think in my mind is there's any other boss battle that can quite eclipse the accomplishment that Nobuo Uematsu did with the Super Nintendo sound chip for that battle, and how many layers there are when you start at the bottom level of the angels, the order of the angels. You work your way up, you fight the seraphim, and eventually, you fight a representation of, supposedly like a Jesus and Mary at the top, and then all of a sudden it's Kefka, who is supposed to be representing Lucifer in a sense. And then you get into your butt rock, and of course I love my butt rock, but the entirety of the package, it's just this gradual build. And this is just something you did not expect, that you didn't think could be possible on a Super Nintendo sound chip. I think it sounds far better than One Winged Angel, which, a lot of people will hump a tree over. I don't know why, but it's it just shows like the ultimate ingenuity of what can happen when you really want to deliver on a theme. You really want to drive home that the entity that you're fighting is pure evil. And that's, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of church stuff in the background. Maybe that's more a personal thing, but like you have the organs and it just sounds really evil and stuff like that. And it's I don't it's perfect in my mind. I couldn't think of another soundtrack that could define like you are at the final battle, and I have written this song for the ages. And I think it's like a 12-minute song if you listen to every single part of it. It goes in segments, it draws on themes from the remainder of the game. It draws on themes from the main villain's personal theme that you hear throughout the game. And I don't think there's any culmination that you can hear in boss battle or final boss music that is executed as perfectly as this. The extreme comes close, but I kept it off because like the synth throws me off a little much, especially on the PlayStation, and that's why it's an honorable mention. But this is, yeah, it's my number one, so it's unquestionably my favorite. So, Dancing Mad, Final Fantasy VI.
Nice. I like it. That's a good pick. Yeah. I was toying with the idea, and I didn't even have it in my honorable mentions. It probably should have been, but the final boss battle for FF4 is also really solid.
Yeah, I mean, FF4 is a fantastic soundtrack too. I didn't want to load this down, which is Final Fantasy, right?
I
Um,
I am actually pleasantly surprised that neither one of us had One Winged Angel anywhere on here.
Fuck that song. It's trash, man. I'm sorry.
We trigger all the FF7 fans in the crowd.
Veni, 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 us, name me more. It sounds like shit. It's MIDI. Get over yourselves. The
Uh,
entire soundtrack, it's good. Composition wise, it's good, but it sounds like crap. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, actually. It sounds like crap. I'm not sorry. I just played through it. I know. You say that Sega Genesis sounds like a bunch of fart noises. What do you think the PlayStation sounds like when it's not using actual compressed audio? Final Fantasy VII, that's what. And I'm not going to sit here and apologize for it. Now that we lost everybody, hi.
and it's also funny that somehow like Doom or whatever didn't make it onto my list. But honestly, the
Yeah,
boss
but there's other
tracks
boss
are
battles.
not the best part of that soundtrack. Like, actually, for any of
Yeah.
them. I was going back through, like, the original Doom games and also Doom 2016, and honestly, boss tracks are, like, the weaker parts, surprisingly enough.
It doesn't I'm not very surprised by it because a lot of it was like stage stuff, and I mean the stage stuff in Doom is just rocks, but
Yeah.
I don't even remember boss battles in a lot of these first person shooters, mostly because I sucked. I'm not sure if I made it to them or not.
Well, it's like the Spider Mastermind, right? Like that one, but honestly, it's compared to like compositionally compared to the other tracks that are just like just normal ass stage tracks, like it's actually not that good. So, yeah, if you want to talk about like top 5 like stage themes, wink wink, hint hint, nudge nudge, then that's
Okay.
a whole other list. And I
Oh
can
my god. Oh my
guarantee
god.
you some Doom's gonna be on that one. But yeah. Also that might need to
You
be a
want an honor
multi-parter parter, but
Yeah, you want an honorable mentions list if you want to do 5. Like the honorable mentions me just talking is going to be 30 fucking
yeah,
minutes.
exactly. But as far as this episode is concerned, I think that brings us to a close. So
It does.
yeah, so thank you to our patrons again for not only suggesting and nominating and ultimately voting for this topic. We thank you very much. And as Chris mentioned at the beginning of the episode, if you would like to become one such patron, you can do that by heading to our link tree at linktree/retro hangover and heading over to that Patreon button and signing yourself up to a donation tier that fits you best. It is obviously not required, but we do very much appreciate the support, and you do get some pretty sweet bennies with it. So consider doing that. And as far as the other stuff you can find there, you can pick up some sweet ass merch if you want, like a t-shirt with some cool logos on it. Actually, at the time of recording this, I am probably going to be putting out a pretty awesome Pizza Hut inspired logo soon. So you can pick that up
Woo!
if you'd like. Rep that old school Pizza Hut. And
I love it.
yeah, so
Hope you don't get sued. I'm looking forward to it.
it's parody. It's protected by law, I think. Maybe.
We'll find out.
Anyway, it'll be neat. So get one before they disappear forever, I guess. But anyway, besides that, you can also check out our social media as well as our YouTube channel where we post video versions of all these episodes, as well as the VODs from the Twitch channel, which Chris is now going to tell you about, as he is wont to do.
If you go to twitch.tv/retro hangover, maybe you might see me eating some Pizza Hut pizza. I mean, probably
We are not
not,
sponsored. I want to
but-
make that clear.
We are not sponsored at all because their pizza sucks. Now it does. It didn't back then. But
it was always kind of bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. Twitch.tv/retro hangover. And just head over there. We're going to be playing a game of some kind. And we hope you join us because we have the best chat in the universe. They are the greatest chat. And just head over there and you'll see why. And maybe once again, we'll have a conversation about what ass tastes like. Don't ask me how we got there.
Tastes
We
like
just did.
Pizza Hut pizza, in case you're curious.
God, I don't know why anyone would do that, though. But twitch.tv/retro hangover. We hope to see you there.
Yeah, where we will be playing Yo Noid just to piss off Pizza Hut. Anyway, I don't know why this devolved into shitting on Pizza Hut, but here we are. So,
Because if you shit on their pizza, it'll taste better.
So before we lose that possibly lucrative sponsorship from the Hut, I suppose I should probably shut this down. So, until next time,
Play with your No One Out Pizzas the podcast joysticks.